Most people think of laundromats as boring, old school, and barely worth noticing. That is exactly why they get overlooked. In a world where everyone wants the next flashy software company, a laundromat can quietly do what most businesses struggle to do: produce steady cash flow from a simple, repeatable customer need. Laundry is not optional. It does not disappear in a recession. It does not depend on trends. People have to wash clothes every week, and a large share of that demand gets pushed out of the home by apartment living, broken machines, time pressure, or utility costs. That makes laundromats one of the few businesses where the product is basic, the demand is recurring, and the operating model can stay stable for years. The underrated part is not just that laundromats make money. It is how they make money. A good laundromat can collect hundreds of small transactions every week, in cash or card, with limited labor and a very clear operating structure. That creates a business where revenue can be predictable, overhead can be controlled, and improvements often show up directly in cash flow. To understand why the model works, start with the customer. The typical laundromat customer is not making a one-time purchase. They are returning constantly. If a customer washes clothes once a week and spends even $15 to $25 per visit, that is $60 to $100 per month from one household. Multiply that by dozens or hundreds of households in a dense trade area, and the revenue adds up fast. Now look at the economics per visit. A wash-and-dry cycle may only cost the operator a small amount in water, gas, electricity, and wear. In many stores, the gross margin on each completed cycle is strong because the machines do the work, not employees. That is a major reason laundromats can create decent cash flow even without a huge sales team, without inventory risk, and without complicated fulfillment. The best laundromats usually sit in neighborhoods where the housing mix supports repeat use. Apartment-heavy areas, working-class communities, older housing stock, and regions with lower in-home washer and dryer penetration tend to produce steady demand. If a market has a lot of renters, older buildings, or people who value convenience over appliance ownership, the laundromat becomes part of the monthly routine. That routine matters because boring businesses become valuable when behavior is repetitive. In a laundromat, the customer does not need persuasion every week. They need availability, cleanliness, working machines, and a location that fits their life. If those basics are in place, the business can win on consistency rather than branding. This is where many buyers misunderstand the cash flow. They focus only on the total revenue number and ignore the structure underneath it. Two laundromats with the same top line can produce very different cash flow depending on lease terms, utility costs, machine age, labor requirements, and ancillary income. A store with strong revenue but high rent and constant repairs may not be as attractive as a smaller store with disciplined costs and newer equipment. The machine mix matters a lot. Large capacity washers, high efficiency dryers, and reliable payment systems can increase revenue per square foot while lowering labor headaches. If the machines are outdated, the store may still operate, but it will often do so with more downtime, lower customer satisfaction, and more maintenance expense. In practical terms, machine quality is not just an asset question. It is a cash flow question. Labor is another place where laundromats can surprise people. Some stores run with almost no staff during many hours. Others add attendants, wash-dry-fold services, or pickup and delivery. Each layer changes the model. Self-service is usually the cleanest cash flow profile because the customer is doing the work, but service add-ons can lift revenue if they are managed tightly. Wash-dry-fold, in particular, can be a strong margin line because it turns unused capacity and labor into higher-value revenue. A store that already has fixed utilities, floor space, and machines can use those same assets to produce more income without building a totally new business. This is one reason a laundromat can behave like a base cash engine with optional upside. That said, the business only looks passive from far away. In reality, the cash flow depends on operations. Clean floors, functioning machines, clear pricing, and a safe environment are not optional. If a store has broken equipment or looks neglected, customers leave quickly. And in a laundromat, customer loyalty is often less about brand and more about habit. Lose the habit, and you lose the revenue. The financial simplicity of laundromats is what makes them interesting to disciplined buyers. Revenue tends to be tied to daily foot traffic and machine throughput. Expenses are usually centered on rent, utilities, maintenance, labor, and insurance. That means once you understand the operating rhythm, you can often spot where the profit is leaking. Maybe the dryers are underperforming. Maybe pricing has not been adjusted in years. Maybe the lease is consuming too much of the gross. Each issue has a direct effect on cash flow. One of the most useful ways to think about the industry is unit economics. If a machine turn generates a predictable amount of revenue and the cost per turn is controlled, then the business can scale through better utilization instead of constant expansion. A better operator does not always need more locations. Sometimes they just need the same location to run at a higher percentage of capacity. That is why small improvements can matter so much. A modest price increase, better machine uptime, improved payment collection, or a smarter layout can all affect monthly cash flow. In a laundromat, a few percentage points of improvement can turn into meaningful annual income because the model repeats so often. The hidden strength of the business is also in how it fits a cautious capital strategy. Compared with many service businesses, laundromats are less dependent on labor turnover, customer appointments, or complex sales pipelines. Compared with many retail businesses, they do not require large inventories that can sit and expire. The core product is utility, and utility tends to be durable. Still, not every laundromat is a good business. Some are overleveraged. Some have bad leases. Some sit in weak locations with limited density. Some have machines that need replacing before the cash flow can truly stabilize. The point is not that laundromats are automatic. The point is that, when the fundamentals are right, the cash flow can be more resilient than people expect. And that is why they remain underrated. They do not usually make headlines. They do not sound exciting in a room full of people chasing the latest trend. But if you want a business with recurring demand, operational clarity, and the ability to convert small transactions into steady monthly income, laundromats deserve a serious look. In the end, the business is simple. People need clean clothes. They need them every week. And if you own the right location, with the right machines, the right lease, and disciplined operations, that need can become reliable cash flow. Not flashy. Not glamorous. Just practical, repeatable, and durable. In business, that is often where the real value lives.